Okay. Sounds good.
Hey, we're here today with the lovely, lovely Levana and the lovely, lovely Amy. And obviously Levana lives in Hawaii and she's raring to go, aren't you, Levana?
Oh yeah, right. There's so much going on over here. It's so crazy. Thanks for having me come on, Karen, and good to see you, Amy.
Good to
Or hear you guys.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's a little bit of lagging between us, but so far so good.
Right. Yeah. No, you guys are coming in crystal clear, but
right.
if you do the video, it doesn't work as well with the video, huh?
No, that's why I say turn your camera off because of the broadband. But you like your camera on, don't you, Levana?
Right. I know. I'll keep it on, but jobs, it's so crazy over here. Like there's just so much tyranny going on. I think I don't know about where you guys are at, but I've heard the UK is pretty bad too. Yeah, Karen, are you guys still under some serious restrictions over there?
We're not quite out of lockdown yet. I think we're coming out of lockdown.
Right. Yeah. A lot of
It's
states.
been quite strict here, and what you're saying, you know, that's the fear that a lot of people have is that I won't be able to travel. I won't be able to go to this. I won't be able to do. That's the worry, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Right. I mean, the censorship's out of control, you guys. They just they just disabled my Facebook account, my main Facebook account. I can believe it. They've been threatening to for years, and I knew it was coming, but I'm a little bit shocked, I guess, and just, pretty upset about it. That was my main account.
Yeah, I know. I felt exactly the same way when they took 2 of my channels, and I haven't really done anything. You know, other people get monetized for talking about all sorts of controversies, but not me. And I keep getting these strikes every day, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like how I feel the same way too. I've never been able to, and maybe it's just because they know that I have the potential to get a big audience, but I've never really been able to build anything big enough to get a huge audience. They always shut me down before I do. So that's what it is. They know that our voices are powerful, and they're trying to prevent that from happening. It's really
yes, Miss Warrior.
That's right.
Miss Warrior-ness.
Well,
so go ahead, Em.
You don't think it's because we're women, do you? Because I just feel when I know big channels are getting paid and they can say more or less what they like, and yet me on my channel on the Sun and Moon, they said that my information is controversial and it is harmful to the people. That's what they put.
Yeah, that's what they told me too, right? I know. It's amazing. Yeah, well, now I'm officially considered a criminal now for trying to act like a healthy American and exercise my right to travel without submitting to their testing. And did you hear, I don't know if you heard my whole story about how I challenged their quarantine orders at the airport, but I'm definitely the first person in Hawaii to do it, and one of the very, very few probably in America to even be challenging any of these mandates. And especially these, I went up against there's like 15 at the airport. They've got like 15 National Guard soldiers there, police officers, and they tell you have to agree to quarantine yourself for 10 days if you didn't get the test. And they try to force you to sign something. And I was fully prepared to go to battle, and I basically was able to get out of the airport without signing because I laid it all out for the police officer how all of this is unlawful and illegal under our own Hawaii state laws. They're breaking their own laws on quarantine and denying me my rights to due process. And I was prepared to serve him with a notice of liability that I'm going to bring legal action against him if he's going to try to force me to sign anything. So he actually let me out of the airport without signing. And basically I was in my rights to, live my life normally, freely, without, you know, locking myself up at, so I did leave my house like any normal person would do, because this is America. And they wound up actually arresting me, not once, but twice. And they were watching me, targeting me, just waiting for me to leave my house so that they could come and arrest me. And yeah, so, you know, no warrant, total unlawful arrest, no grounds to be arresting me, because I never agreed to anything. And they even call it a because that's what you have to do, is you have to, it's an agreement. It's a self-made agreement that you're going to lock yourself up. And if you don't agree to that, there's no contract, right? So anyway, so now I have to defend myself on a criminal charge in Hawaii. They have made it a misdemeanor, up to a year in jail, $5,000 fine for violating or for disobeying the governor or mayor's emergency orders. And it's crazy. So now I'm in the process of defending myself on top of other lawsuits that we have pending too. So there's all kinds of legal action coming soon. But this criminal charge, though, they definitely made a mistake. They arrested the wrong person, because you know, this is an opportunity now for us to really blow this whole thing wide open. So if they really want to go, you know, they want to play hardball with me, like, we're ready for this. So it could be a blessing in disguise, actually.
Levana, can I say something? You also, when we were last speaking to you, were talking to all these people and trying to help you. And they already know that you probably are into all that, so they'll do ways to try and stop you, won't they?
Oh yeah, I know. Yes, I absolutely think so. Yeah, something that I definitely need to be very aware of, that I'm trying to work on, is remembering that they are watching me. I guarantee that I'm being, you know, I'm under surveillance, and they're always trying to figure out what our next move is. And it's like a game of chess right now that we're playing with this corrupt government over here. And, you know, I mean, we're doing some pretty big things to fight back. So I do think you're right. And that's why I feel like they targeted me. I have several other people in the state that have gotten ticketed or arrested, and, you know, charges were dropped pretty much immediately. But I feel like with me, like, they're going to go to war with me, and they think they're going to win. But I pray not. You know, this is, they just can't win. It's just all so unlawful. It's crazy.
That's right. They're not going to win, Levana. You're a warrior, and I'm going to be praying, and they're not going to win. You're going to win. Just thank you for everything you're doing. Just stand up for our rights, because it's bad here. And I'm here in Maryland, so I'm side of the country from you. But you know, I was actually crying about it today, because it's 24/7 in our faces about this, you know, getting this thing. And they're offering people free dinners. State of Maryland is paying people $100 to take this thing. They're offering you free donuts and free beer, free steak dinner, all this bribery to take this thing. And everybody I know is taking it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I've tried to tell people what this is and what a violation of our rights. And they don't listen. They don't want to hear it. And I was just thinking, it's just breaking up families, and it's just causing so much stress. And I was actually crying earlier about it. I thought I can't take more of it. Yeah, it's 24/7. They won't stop. They call my house with a recording.
Oh my God! Right?
Where to go, and you know, to get this certain thing, and you know, just all the bribery, and everybody's all excited about getting their thing, and they're taking selfies of themselves, and they're all proud of themselves, and it's just starting to overwhelm me. I try not to think about it, but it's terrible. Like, it's such a violation of our rights. And you know, if it gets to the point that we can't travel because you don't comply, like, I'm not taking their stuff.
That's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to trick everybody into doing it by offering you the ability to freely travel. It's like, we are Americans, we already have that right. And just in general,
Yes,
just basic human rights, you know, that aren't contingent upon whether we get this shot or not. It's crazy.
exactly.
Do you know what happens, Levana?
Yeah.
What it is you've looked things up, so you're quite a fay with the laws of your country. But Mr. Joe Average, Mrs. Joe Average, they don't know them. You know them. They
Right.
don't know them. And I think that's what half the problem is. Most people just don't know them, don't think, don't care, don't want to know, whatever.
Yeah, that is a huge issue. That's a big part of the problem. And finally, I've been working really hard to try to help educate people about what their constitutional rights are, you know, what their protections are under the law and the constitutions, and how to, like, you know, be able to recite laws and stand up to these tyrants that are trying to tell them that they can't just, you know, get on a plane and travel without submitting to all of this, and that they think they need to take a test, or that they need to wear a mask. And so the more that we get educated about what our rights are, and really truly start to understand like who we are, and that we have these sovereign unalienable rights, meaning that they're non-negotiable, and that, you know, that we have personal authority that we just need to exert and learn how to say no, you know, that's when this all comes down. Because really, like, these governments, they know that the principles.
Levana, yesterday I was going through these maps, right, because of what's happening. I just came across it that somehow we had our hand in the Palestine thing. We seem to run it for a few years, and then out of that comes Israel. So we're there again. And then I was looking at the map, right, of Palestine, and they've got a triangle on it on the left-hand side. And then I was remembering that that's a section of the Union Jack, because these are how they control them. This is not. I had not realised that these parts of the maps meant, like, it doesn't matter. They can be a cross, a crisscross, lines, triangles. They're all part of that Union Jack.
Interesting. I never noticed. Yeah, I never saw that before. But yeah. So what's the late? So there's like major like bombing and going on right now over there, right? That's what I heard. There was a bomb.
That's all done for the television.
Yeah.
We can't say very much about it, but that's what we think. There isn't really any. There doesn't seem to be much of Palestine to be able to do anything with. So.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, that's a touchy subject. I just actually got into it with somebody who's a good friend, and something we had never really talked much about. And she, you know, we totally did not see eye to eye on that whole controversy. And now it's just amazing the different ways that people are divided, you know, the ways that we get put into these certain boxes of, oh, you're anti-Semitic, or, oh, you're
about 90% or maybe 98% of the world is not going to go there now anyway. So they can do what they like, and then they're probably telling them a totally different story.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because that's what they seem to do, isn't it?
Yep. But yeah, the different ways that we're divided.
You know, like, for instance, we knew someone that was in China, and we've got this opinion about China because this is what they've fed us. But in reality, whenever I listen to that person talking, they're just getting on with their lives like you and me.
Yep, I know, absolutely. Most of this stuff is like just propaganda that's contrived, and it's designed to just create, you know, core beliefs in people that are going to, you know, put labels and put us in boxes so that we can, you know, be divided. And because that's the ultra elite that control the world, they know that we are powerful beings, and that if we were living in love and harmony for each other, and really, like, you know, cultivating that creative energy as a unified force, they wouldn't be able to control us. They wouldn't be able to have this power over us. So they're always trying to find ways to keep us divided. And it's just all like mind control. Mind control is probably their most powerful weapon that they use to control the masses. Yeah. And look at
that's one of the good things about the internet, is because we can sort of directly right now ask you questions. Amy can tell me what's going on for her. But, you know, I don't know, like, in the last couple of weeks, I've realised that the Holy Roman Empire wasn't Italy, it was Germany. Italy was a part of it. So, And then I noticed that Russia, England, Germany all had this double eagle, so we were all part of it. But you find out usually that somewhere along the line, England seems to have the control on most things. So England,
Right.
I don't know. And then we looked up the other day, didn't we, Amy, that basically we could have had the Pope of the world in England, but it didn't happen. And then
Yes.
Henry VIII pretended it was all to do with divorcing when we could already get divorced. Even as Catholics, we could still get divorced. So it's all a bit bizarre. It's all bizarre, and it's all around this War of the Roses, which is an incredible time. And then we just keep learning things. Like we learned the other day that Atlantis could be in Doggerland, this sort of land next to the UK, but me and Amy couldn't find, me and Gillian couldn't find anybody else showing this work, not even National Geographic, which is on the bottom of the thing. But your world's always changing all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't
right.
even know about the history. It seems like they've covered so much up with our history as well. And then all that propaganda, and that's what they're using today with all of this. And I just don't see how the people are they seem like they're brainwashed. And, you know, my daughter, she told me that, you know, her dad got the you know what, and his wife, and I was really upset. He's no longer my husband, but I talked to him, and I have tried to explain this to him, and I texted him about it. I said, I can't believe you did that when I told you so much about it. And he just laughed me off and everything. And then she was telling me, my daughter was telling me her cousin took it so that she can go on trips. And it just, like, it started to overwhelm me, because I'm like, I am not going to take something because the government says that I should, and it's not healthy for me. The side effects have been horrible. I've seen terrible side effects. And they're going to tell me and bribe me to take something, and I'm just not gonna fall into that mindset. Nothing is worth it to me. Yeah. So
I know. I just saw and sorry, real quick, I just saw an article also last night. I just did a video about it that I'm going to upload on my Rumble channel, but there's a scientific research study that was done like in 2018 where they discovered that mRNA actually has like a cancer causing changing agent to it. And so we don't actually even know whether this thing that they want everybody to get might actually wind up causing cancer in people. And just the idea that they're going to try to push it on people when there's no long-term studies that have been done. And, you know, it's not even, you know, federally approved by the FDA. I mean, it's insanity that they're...
You know, I think, Levana, I think that they've just been... Me and Amy were looking up... You must have heard of the BT Tower in London, yeah?
I don't think I have. What is that?
It's quite a
BT
tall
what?
tower where they look like it's got offices in it, and then it used to have a revolving restaurant at the top.
Okay,
well,
yeah.
What?
No, I know.
Until recently, that was omitting microwave.
Yes.
Oh, really? It was emitting microwaves until...
Basically, there's another one 100 miles away in Birmingham, and it had to meet there, and then it bounces from there, and it goes up the country. And this is how they were doing the radio waves, but they were microwaves. Now, they've been putting that over us. That just sounds like HAAR, whatever it is, HARRP.
HARP, yes.
Yeah, HARP. I know. Well, that's a whole nother thing too. Like, I wonder about.
They've used it, and they've stopped using it, so they say. And you think, I wonder what they use now.
Yeah, this whole agenda is about really like turning us into cyborgs. They're openly talking about how they really want to blend the lines between the physical world and the digital world, and like specifically like human beings. They want human beings to be connected to the cloud. And then what do you guys make of this, like the injection site on people with the magnets? Have you guys seen that? Like that to me is I don't know. I mean, the only way that could work is if there's some kind of metal particles in your skin. So where did that come from? How is that happening? There's no other way to explain it, right? And it's like,
Can I say something? I
who knows?
can't, you know that we
Yeah.
can't specifically use words and we have to sort of just talk around it and so forth like that.
Yeah.
But I have on the channel put out what wherever you spell that word, heart, what they wanted. They wanted
Yeah,
it.
right. Yes, they have been working towards this for a long time, and their whole
Is it fear,
yeah.
Levana? Levana, is it really happening or is it fear?
I don't know. That's a good question, right? I mean, yeah, sometimes it's hard to say like what's real and what's not real. Like people are under like mass hypnosis, and sometimes yeah, sometimes that is the question, is it real, right? I don't know if I could answer that, but
But you know,
are you talking about
sure, with the way it looks, right? That Biden isn't in the White House, Boris is not in Downing Street, the Queen isn't in Buckingham Palace. They're all computer programs with the wrong colour eyes. Of all these people, including the Queen, they have like blue or green eyes. They've all got brown eyes. So we're watching some weird footage here.
Yes.
Yeah. Where are they?
I haven't seen. I know, right? I know. Yeah, I really wonder about that too sometimes, you know.
Do you think it's to do with the bits of land? Like there's another little island in Rome, there's one in London, and there's one in New York.
Are you what do you mean? Are you well, that's like the Trinity right there, or well, no, not New York. Washington DC is what I'm thinking of. But
well, it might be a little bit out there, but basically these are pieces of land that another country in your country. It's got, Amy understands, it's got its own flag, it'll have its own money, its own government.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, the District of Columbia. That's not exactly not New York City, but
there's another one we've got near us. It's called the Isle of Man. They have their own parliament and everything. They're not linked in with us. The Isle of Man, which sits between England and Ireland.
Wow.
Right. And they secretly control everything as a separate entity, right? Like controlled through the Vatican. Yeah, there's so much.
But I just said the Holy Roman Empire was not Rome. It was Germany.
It was Germany.
I
haven't heard.
Weird, but this very quickly because we've come to listen to you talk. But in the Holy Roman Empire, there's the first, the second, and the third. And in the German, there's the first, the second Reich, and the third Reich. They're the same things.
Yes.
Right. Wow. So you might have to share some more.
You suddenly, it's on videos on Sun and Moon, but basically you're like, you just stumble across it. Me and Amy have done that one, haven't we, Amy?
We did, Karen, that's right.
It's most bizarre realising that Rome was not, all roads didn't go to Rome, all roads went to Germany.
Interesting.
Or we also noticed that Queen Victoria, all her children married into those families. So hang on a minute, maybe England is in control.
Well, right. I wonder.
No.
She's the only monarch where that one married a Russian or whatever, that one married a Prussian and a German and whatever countries they were, they all married into these countries. And then wait for it. The really strange thing is that we understand about griffins. You know, a lot of Tartaria has these griffins in it. But when you're talking about the Holy Roman Empire, it's a double eagle. And then you notice that Russia's got it, we've got it, France has got it. So we must have all been under the same empire at one stage. I just don't quite get it all. But all I know is that when it comes to it, England's in the middle of it all.
Yeah, all kinds of signs and symbols, that there's some kind of secret thing going on that we don't know about. There has been from the beginning of time. We've always been.
That's what the flags are about. Just look up, for instance, look up Jamaica's flag. You'll see it's a cross, a crisscross. But in a sense, that's a bit like our flag, except I know it's not a Union Jack, but it's still got the crisscross in it like we have. And then you look at another one and it's got the triangle on the left-hand side. A lot of them are in the Commonwealth countries. It's got to be to do with rule, or the white lines, or the crisscrosses, or the crosses, lines. They all mean things. They mean that who's in charge of these places.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for a lot of people to even begin to grasp.
How come America has Alaska? I mean, I was speaking to someone the other day from Alaska. It's a bit like you, really. You're not on the mainland, and they're miles away from America. Like, how did America get Alaska? Is that the pretend Russian thing?
Right? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how they got Alaska, but I know how they got Hawaii was that they came and like kidnapped the queen and basically made her agree to hand over Hawaii to the United States under duress, and that it's been illegally occupied. We're under like a illegal military occupation for the past, and it's only been about 120 years since that happened. So very short time that Hawaii actually has been even considered a state, but it's a fake state and unlawful, illegal.
Wow.
Right. What I noticed was in America there was a place called Texana, and actually what happened was it was a bit like the train could have come there. They said they didn't want the train. They made another town. Everything went there. Texana became quite empty, and then they said, right, we're going to put a reservoir on it. But what we noticed was that in the later 1800s they were changing all the names right across America. So they could said we're conquering America and going across, but they weren't. They were changing the names, and they had to change it again because Russia had Alaska. So those names would have been Russian. They're not now. They're changed again. And then, but when me and Amy looked at, it was called Little Dolomite. There's Big Dolomite. Big Dolomite is in Russia, and Little Dolomite is in Alaska. It's the furthest post out. They live like basically on the beach. And basically they're saying, we can see Russia over there. And then they're saying Russia can say, we see land over there, but they're not together. There was no ships, no nothing. There was nobody monitoring the water. There's nothing there, nothing. So basically that must be the extra lands that we're missing. It's so close.
Yes.
Wow.
Do you see what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, I do. Wow.
So,
I haven't.
So when they go to these places, if they're somewhere else, they probably don't even have to go that far. It's just we don't see it like that because, you know, why? If there was this big thing between America and Russia, why don't they just go and do it? They, they've got the television. They like to lie. You can go and do it all there. Who would see it? It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Right. The television, they can pretty much make anybody believe anything they want. That's the thing that most people don't even understand.
They bring so it's a bit like Russia are the baddies to us, right? And they drag it all over Europe to America. It's much quicker. They could just do it over the 60 miles that's between, like, I don't understand.
Right.
I know. I don't understand.
I wonder if Alaska wake up in the morning and think, oh, those Russians, oh, or they just get on with their life, you know?
Right? Well, Alaska.
There's a journalist called Naomi Wolf. She is actually worked under the Clintons and the Obamas. She's very liberal Democrat, but she's very honest. And she said that please don't trust anything you see on that television. She said you would be a fool not to question everything that you see. So I really like that that she is so honest that way. She told all these journalists.
Yeah, and that's another bit like with Levana's stuff, right? Because in a sense, Levana, you don't, your colour isn't, it doesn't matter what the colour is anymore. You don't have a football team. You're not into wearing those clothes and having that hairstyle. You've got to get rid of all these things where you thought, well, I'm a blue. No, I'm a red. I'm a Tory. I'm a Democrat. You've got to get rid of all of that. It's all got to go.
Absolutely. Yes. I know. Yeah, Naomi Wolf has done a lot of good work to try to wake people up, and she talks about the passport idea and what the implication of that is, and basically they want to move us into this social credit score type of system like they have in China, and pretty soon it's like you're not even gonna be able to buy groceries unless you can scan. You have a QR code that they can scan at the door. And like they're already setting up these kind of machines I've seen at like Safeway and stuff where, or even at the courthouse where you have to get like a facial recognition. You put your face up to the camera and it checks your temperature and it like checks to see that you're wearing a mask. as if the whole mask wearing thing is supposed to be temporary, right? And like they're setting it up that it's going to be this future thing, that because we already know they're talking about, you know, that we're going to have future pandemics, right? We know Bill Gates has already warned us it's coming, guys. And it's amazing though, because it's all planned, it's all plotted, and you know, there's evidence of that. But that's what this is, where this is heading, which is super, like, very frightening. And it just blows my mind that people can't see it, you know, like, no matter where you stand on the issue,
you know what, Levana, like we don't, I don't know what it is. When you wake up or when you see things differently, you can't go back and pretend that you didn't see it. You know, when we're looking at the footage, it's so hard. You can't pretend that you're looking at anything real. And then you look at the eyes and they're brown and stuff. But not everybody's done that. That's the annoying thing. My own children, my son said, we're living in a monetary society, and until that changes, nothing's going to change.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I know. Unfortunately, some people just can't see it. They just won't see it because they've been so heavily indoctrinated, and they only get their information from their so-called mainstream trusted sources, right? But that's how they fool the people, because they've got this trust in their mainstream media and their mainstream science. They won't even allow information to come from any alternative source, because they just automatically dismiss it. And we know all about that cognitive dissonance. And it's like, they're not really looking for the truth. They're just looking for bias, confirmation bias, you know, to clarify and confirm what they already know to be true. And that's the problem with most people. It's like, you just can't even get through to them. And I don't know what to do to try to break that. But I mean, it's like, it's scary, because they have so much control, because that's what they've done is, you know, through the education system, they teach children how to not question authority, and how to not, you know, have an open mind, and rather to just be like, you know, tunnel vision, like, this is the truth, this is the facts, and everything else, you know, is just crazy.
Levana, that it's a bit freaky anyway. Like, Amy understands it, you understand it, I understand it. I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, I look out and I think, God, do you think anybody's watching me? Because it's a bit of a weird place to be when so many believe what's going on, and then some of us don't.
I know. I think it's also like just literally hypnosis and black magic. I feel like, you know, like these Freemasons, and how they cast, I think they've casted spells on the people through, you know, through the media and their different, you know, symbolism and things like that.
That thing's got, you know, like the screen's blinking away, so that's not good. I've actually wondered whether a couple could be sitting there and they have an argument and they don't even realise why. It's because they've been watching the television. Maybe it's the submissive stuff. Maybe it's because it's advert after advert and the programmes they're watching, and they don't realise it's all part of this programme to destroy everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, it's like, why are we here?
The Matrix, right? Yeah, it is. It's the Matrix. That movie was.
We go outside and we go clap, and then the veil falls down, and we see what we're really living in, or something.
Yes.
I know. That is, that's the ultimate goal behind this. And I just am so grateful to know that there are a lot of people there, you know, like us, that are capable of seeing beyond the illusions, and they're not, you know, hypnotized and in this trance. But that's the thing, like, you know, until I don't know, that's the ultimate goal, is that we've got to wake everyone up from this illusion, this you know, this mental prison that we've been living in since the beginning of time, probably, really. I mean, they've always.
But, you know, we know how they did it, but, you know, like, it's so hard to quite work out, you know, for us, like, when did it start? But we do realise that, you know, we've watched Bing Crosby play Hitler, so that was, what is he, nearly 100 years ago. But, you know, like, basically, we watched a case. It made thousands of people depressed. He killed his wife, his children. Then we started looking into it a bit and realising it didn't look quite right. Like, the footage didn't look right and all these things. And it's like, that was 2018. They made thousands of people feel depressed.
Yes.
One case.
Yes.
Imagine all the other
Right.
things they do. I mean, it's so detailed and so big. Couldn't they just, why don't they just say to us, 300 years ago, the goodies lost. We were the baddies. We won. We rule everything now, and we got on with it. We wouldn't be able to do much, but at least we'd know the truth. I mean, we would believe them now. It's all the lies.
Right.
Yes, so many lies, so many lies. I know, it's crazy. So, you guys I heard, did you participate? I'm sure you were there on Saturday for the Worldwide Rally for Freedom. I saw some footage. You guys had
I really wanted to go, but I didn't actually have any money, but I'm going to go to one soon.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be another one. That's the great thing. Like, that gives me so much hope. I mean, where I live, this tiny little island, we actually got like about 75 to 100 people to come out, which is pretty amazing for our group. But man, to see millions of people standing up like that, and
I know,
the thing is, I don't think people understand. We think we've got this whole system in place that's there to look after us in one way or another. You know, at the end of it, if it doesn't work, you can go to an ombudsman. There's always another level you can go to. But there isn't. There's no one to write to. There's no one to go to.
Yeah.
And in a way, marching doesn't work. But what are you left to do?
I know. I know what you mean. Yeah. We've been doing that every weekend out there with our signs, and I know, I understand how you feel, and sometimes I think it's just like a waste of time. But if anything, it makes us feel good, because we know that we're actually trying to, to do something to come together and to kind of show other people that there is a problem. Like, if we don't do that, because the mainstream media isn't gonna, tell the people the truth, it's our opportunity to, like, we try to talk to people.
In a way, here is what you want it to be, almost, because it just is, isn't it? It fits in with what you want it to be in the world you're in.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Everybody.
The protester, but it's at least it's showing something. When we all just go silent and just accept this and all get broken down, then that's when it's going to be all over. And I'm going to fight till my last breath. I'm never giving in to this. I will be fighting till my last breath.
Exactly. I know. And so, but yeah, but there's going to be, and I think the ultimate solution, honestly, I feel like the biggest chance we do have is actually bringing legal action. And so we've got, big lawsuits that are coming worldwide, and, these are going to be crimes against humanity, trials. Yeah. Thank God for that. But everybody. Yeah. And then at the state level, like, Karen, I don't know if you know, but, so there's a movement, Make Americans Free Again, and the idea is that we are going to get this whole coalition of attorneys to come together to bring a lawsuit in every single state, and it's the same kind of thing where we're attacking, the protest and going after the whole fraud behind everything, and exposing it as never being an emergency, and that it certainly isn't now, and so so we are heading up the Hawaii chapter, and we're going to bring a big lawsuit in Hawaii also. And I've already got 2 others pending, but that's the only thing that's going to talk to these politicians is when the law is like looking at them like, they're going to have to prove that they have the authority and the justification for what they've done to us. And there's no way they can, because there is no emergency. We've known that from the beginning. And they've never, So, but yeah, so that's what we're doing. And man, I'll tell you though, like I was talking to my mother last night, I feel so terrible for her and my daughter, and she's just suffering. She's got like heart problems, and now her doctor told her that she has asthma, and she can't get a doctor to actually write her a medical exemption letter. And I keep trying to tell her, you have a medical exemption, you have asthma. Like, don't let anyone tell you you have to wear a mask. And she just doesn't know how to stand up for herself. And so she's just so tormented by this whole, mask
Oh,
thing, and she cries to me, and I'm just like, I cannot believe the way they are torturing our elderly and our children with these
yes.
masks. I've had it. I mean, I just can't take it anymore, and I'm so determined to make these criminals pay for what they've done. And
Yes.
I intend to continue to bring more lawsuits, like one after the other, and just sue them all. That's what we
Oh,
have to do.
that's awesome. You go,
Yes,
Hey,
Levana.
I
Levana,
know.
on
Yeah.
that thought, do you remember last year that there was a lawsuit coming out? Obama was in it. All these people were in it. It was a great big document. It went around the internet. I wonder what happened with that one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not sure about that either. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know if I ever heard anything more about that.
Amy,
That's
do you
interesting.
remember
Yeah.
it?
I do remember it, yes, and I think it has something to do with was it possibly with like human trafficking or something like that? Like they
Yeah,
were
that
trying
was
to,
on there as well.
yeah, holding all these different people accountable for these different crimes, and I can't remember what all it was, but if you remember during the beginning of this whole thing, some people that were big Trump supporters, they were trying to say, and they were in that Q movement, and they were saying, "Oh, this is just a smokescreen for Trump to be able to free all these people that's been in human trafficking and
Yeah,
so forth." And I think that was, not true. And I think that
yeah, that sounds like QAnon stuff,
QAnon. Yep.
and I hope I don't offend. Yeah,
No,
I hope I
we're
don't
not either.
offend anybody, but that's just another way that they're keeping us divided too. But all
Yeah.
of that stuff is
Do you know
just
what's
a bunch
really
of
weird,
nonsense.
Levana? Me and Amy found
Yeah.
it. They were called something like,
Yeah.
what were they called? The White Dove. And
Yes.
they did it in the 70s, and these people were doing it at the back of a car, and what it was is they owed money or something had happened, so they got them, but they got the money because they needed the money, and they got the information and they did it. And I'm thinking, it's not that long ago, the 70s, but everybody's forgotten. I mean, there
Yeah,
must be
it was.
people who
It was.
remember this.
Yeah, it was a version of the QAnon, except it was in the
Yeah,
70s. Yes.
I saw something about that before too. Right? It's a classic example of how they
Can I
can
tell you something,
control the
Levana?
opposition.
Levana, we
Hmm.
had a good friend between us, Aaron. He's into Trump. He's into it all.
Oh,
He's into
yeah, I know
QAnon,
Aaron.
and I blocked him
Oh, did you? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I
because
know.
he
Me and
kept
him used to
asking
be.
me if I was okay and all that, when we actually know that QAnon isn't real.
I've been trying to get through to him for a couple years now. We go way back, and I think I got you and him connected initially, but yeah, and
Yeah,
then
but
when he
you see
got
what
on
it
this,
does. Even something like that causes mega problems. But he just
yeah,
insulted me.
I know.
I only sent him a link, and suddenly he was like, "Are you all right? I need to." And I'm thinking, but it's not real. And then it just escalated into this thing, and then I was like, "You've really upset me now." And then it carried on, and then I blocked him. Like I just put him on block on Messenger, but he was there. Then I unblocked him. I said, "Have you
Right.
finished now?" And it didn't. He still kept asking me, "Was I mentally okay?" And I'm thinking, QAnon isn't even real.
Right? Are you mentally okay? Is the real question. I know. I
Right.
And
know.
not just that, he's tried to start the Lumen Project, right? With a whole new
Yeah, yeah.
system. Well, I don't like the
Oh,
idea that he believes in QAnon and likes Trump.
yeah. I know. I know. It's really amazing to me, especially after what we saw, what's happened, with Biden getting in, and the election frauds, and just and then these people still want to hang on to this belief that somehow he's the one that's going to save us. It's like, really, are you really that blind? Like, can't you see that he was just a puppet to begin with,
Right.
too, like any other United
So one of
States
his first
president?
things he would have done if he was real Trump, he would have sorted out the media and all that kind of stuff. He would have done,
Yeah,
but
there's
he's
a
not in
lot of
charge, is
things.
he? He's not in charge
Yeah.
like we think he is. He's
That's
one of
right.
them in their programs. They're just
Yeah,
they're part
exactly.
of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's amazing to me. It's really interesting, and that just goes to show you how this like cognitive dissonance works. Once people get this core belief that's like solidified, and they just want to hold on to it so bad, they can't allow conflicting information to come into their psyche and, you know, open their mind and their eyes to the truth, because it destroys that core belief and the way that the ego is attached to that, and pride, you know, and they can't admit that maybe they were wrong, that they you know, that they got fooled. And that's like one of the biggest problems. And it's a difficult situation for people to break free from that. It's really ego plays a big part in it, for sure. But hopefully, yeah, I know.
I almost
And the thing is, you've got to let go of all that, because that's part of that system.
Yes, right. And I almost get
right.
rid of people like my daughter's friend. He sees that there's things wrong because he'll go somewhere with his mask on, and then like he went to buy donuts and the girl couldn't hear him, so he had to take the mask down so she could hear him, and then he didn't put it up fast enough, and she's like, I can't serve you until you put your mask back on. And he's like, she's like standing behind a glass barrier anyway, or a plastic barrier. And like, so he sees that all this stuff is wrong, and then he went and got the you know what anyway. And I'll tell him, can't you see? I said, you see all this crazy stuff. And so my daughter's father, he's like, he said, well, I took the thing just in case it's real. I know you say it's a virus, but I just want to. So it's like they just trust. Like you can get them so far, and they see it, but they get 3/4 of the way. But in the end of the day, the mainstream media wins, and that's who they go with.
I know.
They are seeing things. At the end of the day, they just want to trust the mainstream media indoctrination.
Right. Or people
we did once ourselves, didn't we? But I think there's enough information out for you to wake up now, if you're going to wake up, and if you haven't, you're not going to.
Right. Exactly.
I think some people too, they just can't even fathom that this thing they want to push on us could actually kill us. Like they just can't even believe that could be what they're really trying to do. And so they're like, oh well, I know people, they don't really, you know, they want to travel, and so they just got it anyway, thinking, oh well, it can't be that bad, I'll be fine, you know, like not realizing the implications, like that they really are trying to kill us. And this this thing is not what.
Well, do you know something? I've got a slightly different version of like hospitals now. Like, you know, Amy's dad had chemotherapy, and that's mustard gas. You know, why would they be looking at someone who's got a brain tumor? That in reality, come on.
Yeah,
he didn't die of the cancer. He died of complications from taking the treatment.
Exactly. Yep, that's what killed him, was complications.
And anything, you know, like I watched like you, but we can't say that much, but how they break down the core of an injection, and it's the injection in there, it mutates. That's what's the problem.
Yes, right. Some of these top doctors are talking about how it's gonna permanently change the way our immune system functions, and like in the future, you might wind up with a cold and you could die from it. Like it's just
something else I find really weird today. Like looking at the clouds, right? And there was thunder happening, and I was thinking, I know where we live has had these electrical arcings, right? And it could have destroyed the people. And I was thinking, but how does the arcing get here? And I'm thinking, the clouds just are getting lower and lower. If they hit with thunder, lightning in it, then we'll be electrocuted.
Right.
I know. That makes me think of something else recently that I was looking at, and like, you know how they kind of plan.
They're not even half a mile above your head.
Yeah. It's all manufactured. That's why. And the next move for the elite is that there's going to be, I'm telling you guys, there's going to be extreme weather events. It's going to be crazy weather coming. And they're going to say, oh, it's climate change.
It's the same thing. They've made it look like, you know, like the sun is 93 million miles away. So the clouds are miles away, and people just haven't realized that they're only so many feet above their head.
Yeah. I know. It's so much deception, and it's right in front of your face.
Sure, like, you know, they can do microwaves, and we've watched all those weird clouds. You know, they're like looking at a jumper. They're all ribbed and all weird. I've seen them loads of times go past. Well, what's in that? They're obviously different charged clouds. They can do things to us over our own heads. I mean, I flew, right, to Italy with Ellie a few years ago, went to Genoa. Basically, we took off. It was sometime in March, and that cloud stayed all the way from England to we got to the other side of the Alps. I mean, we're talking nearly 1,000 miles of cloud.
Wow.
It wasn't broken or, it was just a great big, cloud. We didn't see any,
Yeah, what is it?
I love it when you fly and you see bits of land, half the time you go at night, but if you go in the day, you can see out the window. I love it. All we saw was cloud from England to the Alps.
Wow.
Yeah, probably all manufactured. None of our weather nowadays is natural. There's no such thing as natural weather anymore. They've manipulated it so much with their cloud seeding and the chemtrails and just, and then they use electromagnetic
They're getting lower.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, another thing too is the next move is they're going to change it from climate change to climate emergency. I just read that somewhere, and I'll tell you right now that the whole use of the word emergency is all about them being able to justify stripping us of our rights. That's what they've done this whole past year with this COVID thing being called a so-called emergency. So that's the next step, though. The next step is they're going to claim it's a climate emergency. There's probably going to be massive, extreme weather events that are man-made, and then they're going to claim a climate emergency, and nobody gets any rights anymore because there's an emergency, right?
Well,
every time they do something like that, like when we were locked down, the law you think that covers you doesn't cover you at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever law they've made when we're in it is the law that covers, but the law of the land does not cover. The emergency covers.
Right. Well, that's what they want us to believe, but that's not true. I mean, nowhere in the United States Constitution does it say anything about, you have these rights unless there's an emergency, unless there's a pandemic, then you don't have any rights, right? So that's what we need to do is prove that they have no authority from day one to do any of this.
Do you know what's really weird, Levana, about the 1920s and 30s in history and the films they ever showed you was that there was a deep depression and a monetary one. But now, when you go back and look at it, it was the same thing as what happened now, just happened 100 years ago.
Right, and all of it's manufactured too. All of it's, like the Great Depression in the 1920s, 30s, or whatever was all created by the people that control the monetary systems.
What I'm saying is, we used to look back and it was a monetary thing, and it caused poverty and it caused those kind of things, but it was a monetary thing. But now when you go back and look at history, you're finding that they had exactly the same, we had Spanish flu through. So they had the same thing that happened to them as happened to us, like a loop.
Oh, I got it. I see what you're saying.
It wasn't there, I know. Now it's there.
Right. I know. Well, the whole Spanish flu was, that questionable as to the true origin and what was going on there, because they had a huge campaign back then to, I can't say the word, but everybody. And that's what I believe actually happened, is a lot of people died from the shots that they gave everybody. So, you guys should look into that. There was
crazy,
this massive campaign.
Because they say if they took every human being and put them in Texas and gave them an acre of land, there'd still be land left. So how can we be as many people as they say if the whole world can fit into Texas with an acre of land each?
That's right.
I know. It's insane. It's this whole concept that the world is overpopulated is nothing but fear-mongering propaganda, so that they can create this sense of scarcity and resources and for profit and control. And it's just they use fear. The fear is the currency of control. That's how they do it. That's how they get away with it.
Definitely.
Pretty crazy. I know.
I'm not sure I like their version of democracy. It doesn't really feel, or it isn't.
No. Not at
Anyway,
all.
yeah, I gotta wrap things up though. So sorry I don't have more time to hang out with you guys, but it's good to connect.
Awesome.
It's fine, Levana. We already knew that. Thank you for spending this time with us, and good luck with everything, Levana.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And if anybody watches this video and they want to learn more about what we're doing in Hawaii, we have a website. I created a nonprofit civil rights organization. We've been growing, in the past year, and we've got like representatives on each of the islands, and so we're doing big things. And our website is forourrights.org, and we're suing the government, and we're going to bring justice to Hawaii and hopefully win it for the whole country and the whole world and expose this fraud for what it is. So we're trying to be a part of that whole process, and we're gonna win this, guys, because we have to.
Yeah.
There's no choice, right? Humanity depends on it. Our future, our lives, our species. They're trying to exterminate us, and we.
Oh, Levana, you know something else I noticed? Because like, you're right, very quickly. When I was looking at the Victorian pictures, or what they're calling Victorian, all the women had dark eyes and long brown hair. And so I said, where did the blondes come from? When we really get to the blondes, they start turning up in the media, but it's Hitler.
Interesting, right? And you know, that's so interesting that you just meant, like, that's what finally got my account disabled. It's kind of funny because it was actually a meme with a picture of him, and it was just a joke, and it had nothing to do with promoting him or what he did or anything of like in that sense. And they take that down as, it'd be against community standards on dangerous individuals. He's just a historical figure, but why do they try to censor anything around him? And the Third Reich and all of that. Like, I mean, it's really telling, I think. And but that's what finally did it.
This bit when we were supposed to be going over to America in the 1800s, they quarantined the people and took their children, and that's what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I know. There's a lot about history that's hidden from us, a lot that they don't want us to know, they don't want us to talk about. And anytime something is being censored, it's for a reason.
Exactly.
You're on the right track when you're getting censored, right?
Yes, you do. That's
anyway,
right.
Levana, thank you so much for being here and being with us and keeping us up to date. And I just really hope that it all goes well.
Yes, I'm praying for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Amy. You guys, just hang in there and, keep sharing the truth with as many people as we can, and trying to, open people's eyes and hope that we can save them from this toxic cocktail they want to put in our bodies and transform us. But I know. All right, you guys. Big love to you.
Love you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, Levana.
I love you guys.
Love you. Thank you so much. I'll send you the link later.
Okay.
Bye,
aloha.
Bye-bye. Hey, aloha. Oh, well, anyway, we had nearly an hour with her, Amy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's got a lot going on.
Yeah. Should we finish this hangout, and I'll talk to you in a moment.
Great.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, you're welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Levana. Thank you, chat room.
Yes, thank you, Levana and chat room.